Nice.
Okay, we're going to be critiquing Micah David Theis Pyraminx solves. Micah averages about the same as me, but he asked for a critique because he thinks I'm qualified to give it, so I will try my best. This first solve, Micah got a 139. He went for a blue V. He did tips at the start, and then he did U prime, B, R prime, L prime, and then he paused because just knowing Micah, I know he cannot one look. He paused and then did a sledge. So obviously you should be one looking that solve, but that was a 9 move body, which is pretty good, but you did miss an 8 move body. You shouldn't really be missing. I mean, I told this to the last guy who averaged 4 and you're sub 2. So you really shouldn't be missing 3 move Vs, Micah. So from here you could have done tips and then U prime to match this up, R prime to build the big block, B prime, and then you get an insert, which is probably slightly faster and saves a move. Okay, on the scramble, Micah got a 188. He's going to go for the green V. He does tips at the start, and then he does B prime like this, L prime, B prime, into a decent L4E case. I'd like to show a couple other solutions. The first one is just the problem. So the problem with this V is it has 2 B moves, which is pretty unfortunate. I'm going to show 2 solutions that have better Vs and one that's actually better. This one I don't think is actually better because the case you get's a little worse, but on red, you can do L prime, R prime, or R, and then L to kind of like, think about it as like inserting this piece down here, but then you get a kind of a bad L4E. And then the solution that I did, which is the same move count as yours, is also on green. You can hold it from this angle, and this eliminates all B moves and gives one of the nicest L4E cases. So you could just do U to set this up to be moved down here, L to match this block up and make this block R prime, and then you just get good Nicky. So definitely like try to optimize your Vs not only for efficiency but for how nice they are, because you did a 3 move V with 2 B moves, and in about 5 seconds of inspection I was able to find 2 3 move Vs with no B moves that were either equal or about as good L4E cases. Okay, this is the third scramble. Micah got a 2 flat. He goes for a red or a green V, so he does tip at the start, L, R prime, L, U, R, U prime, B, R prime. That's like 7 or 8 moves. So that was, and then he does super sledge, 15 move body. You shouldn't need me to tell you that is not a good solution. Yeah, so we're gonna look at this is an 11 move body. This is the solution I did. So tip at the start, we're going for a red V. You can see that with a U move, and you should have seen this because you also use this move as the start of your V, so you really don't have an excuse to miss this. You went U, and that compare up these two, and then B, now you have a choice. You can go like this and get this case, or like this and get this case. So you should go like this, because then you can cancel into your L4E. Even if you don't one look it, that saves, I think, 2 moves from the other one. So even if you don't cancel, that's the way to go. I think that solve, I mean, Micah himself warned me that that solve was going to be bad. But yeah, don't do 8 move Vs. Especially when the first move of the 4 move V was the first move of your 8 move V. So you definitely should have inspected more thoroughly and saw that if you could make a bar in 1 move, you should look on both sides of that bar, because I think had you have thought that way, you would have found the 4 move V, because you are capable of finding that 4 move V, you just didn't, and that's the problem. Okay, this is the 4th solve. On this one, Micah got a 294 that he plus 2'd. So Micah's going to go for a red V. He does tips at the start, and then he does U R prime to make this block, or U L, and then R prime, L prime U to set up this block, and then he twists the center with R B R prime L prime, and then he has a sledge. So that's a 9-move V, which is over double the amount of moves that you needed to do for a V on this scramble. And then he got a sledge, so that's a 13-move body. I found a 12, a 13, and a 9-move body on this scramble. So I'm going to be focusing on this yellow V and a few different ways you can do this. So the 13-move body I found involves first putting in this piece to make this bar. And then anytime you see this pattern, you know you're 2 moves from a bar. So you can make the bar with R prime, U prime, and then a B. And then you get this L4E case. Or actually, that was the 12-move body. You could have also just done the V in a different order and gotten a bit of a worse case. So if you did the R prime first and then the L prime, you get that case. But the best solution, the first thing I showed was what I did on the scramble, but after a little messing around, I found a 9-move body. So if you notice, if you do a U before this R prime, so that after the U prime, they can go in at the same time. So U, R prime, U prime, and then L prime to make the big block, and then a B, you just get an insert. So that's a 9-move body. That one's a little harder to find than the 2 other ones, but you definitely shouldn't be missing a 4-move V and doing 9. And since you did do the red V, I figured I'd show the, there's a 4-move V on red rather than the 9. I figured I'd show this one. It doesn't give a very good L4E case, but if you do, you can notice that this pair can be made, like that block can be made in 2 moves. So you can go, the first of those moves is a B prime. And then if you match this piece up here with a U prime, you can just go R, L to finish the V. And then end with sledge, U prime, sledge. Okay, this is the last scramble. Micah got a 184. So this is a pretty good scramble. We have this big block. Micah's gonna go for a green V. He does tips at the start, and then he does R, U, R prime, L prime to make the V, and then he goes into that L4E case. So just going off this, I know you can't really one look, but this is a V you just really should be able to. So I'm going to talk about cancellations on the scramble because there's 2 of them that could have made your 12-move body either an 11 or 10-move body. So going off of your V, if you would have, instead of doing L prime, U prime into this alg, you could have canceled with an L2 prime, UL into this alg, like that, and that would have saved you a move. But I think a better solution is, and I'm not exactly sure why you didn't go for this, is the 2-move V on red. You can do U and then just cancel. It's going to be sledge, U prime, sledge. You can just do U and then cancel into the L4E, which would have been a 10-move body. So ending on some strengths and weaknesses, I think Micah's biggest strength by a quarter mile is his turning. His turning is really, really good. Your turning and your tips are definitely better than mine are. You do all your tips at the start pretty quickly every single time, except for the one you +2'd, but you know. So that's really good. Your body turning is kind of absurd. The fact that you're looking at 2 flat with an 8-move body in a rotation is a really good testament to this. But with that being said, the second you learn how to like do solutions that are like on par with your speed, you're gonna be so fast. Because there were 2 solves in this average with where you did an 8 or a 9 move V when there was a 4 move V, and you did the optimal V on none of these solves. So I think like you really need to get in the lab with your Vs. That's going to be the biggest thing. Like use the human optimal solutions finder that's on the Pyraminx sheet, which I assume you have. That really helped me. You can use the csTimer V's function, which isn't quite as good, but it's still nice. And then you got to learn how to one look. One looking is gonna open up a lot. You're gonna be able to like judge how good solutions are, not only based off of the V, but also because you know what L4E case you're gonna get. You can be more selective that way, and it's also gonna open the door for you to learn ML4E, which is something that I think most people start learning around your speed. So, but it's not useful unless you can one look. So one looking is also gonna open up that. So I think those are the two big things. You got to know how to one look, and your Vs need a lot of work. But I think once you do those two things, you're gonna be really, really fast.